Hey, this is Mark Henry, author of Dancing with Energy, Healing Magic, and Mysticism. Here with today's guest, Freya. Look in the camera, baby. She is my newest child. So actually, it relates to our topic for today. But before we begin, as usual, if you are interested in an attunement, I just added two new attunements to my Etsy attunement store, which were genius relationships. If you want to attract a relationship, or if you have one to nurture and nourish it and to help it grow, this definitely will aid in that. And also, I just added Goetic Spirit Phoenix, who is really good for writing influence and music. See, there you are. So, this, again, like I said, let me prop her up. This is Freya, and Freya came from Tennessee. She is a caissoned, also known as the Wolf Spitz, and she is here living with me. So she has some special abilities like other dogs have, but I will talk about that in a minute. All right, just give me 1 second to put her back. Hold on. Alrighty. So the topic is dogs as agents to detect spirits and for protection. So how many of your canines, if you have dogs or have had dogs, have you noticed actually provided those services to you? I've had quite a few. But I understand that if certain people aren't too keen on dogs and pets in general, they require vet visits, dogs, dog food, cats, cat food, shots annually, heartworm preventative, not to mention all of the time, care, attention that pets require. So it can be kind of a costly endeavor all the way around. But if you do, they are definitely good companions. Anthropologists suspect that we have a special connection to dogs, particularly because our species grew up together. And that's how, in a way, we kind of understand each other. It really doesn't make a lot of sense. You have this little being in your house that, even though you can't communicate, you're like best friends, and you are there really in a way to serve them too. I mean, and we help each other. And I think that when you think about it, it's kind of an unusual relationship, shall we say. But as far as my dogs are concerned, I had Knight, which you all are all aware of, and he recently passed. I posted a video about that. Knight would typically, detect spirits. He would look and bark, and then he would track different things. You ever have any pets that might be in your living room or kitchen, and all of a sudden they're looking at something intently, and they keep looking, and it's not really something. It's not, you're looking hard, and you have good eyesight, and you're saying, I don't see any flies or anything like that, but they're certainly looking at something. And what is it? They may even growl at something invisible. And that's what he did. One of the things about dogs is that they can, in certain respects, they can see better than we can, especially at night. I believe that's because they have a lot more, I want to say, rods in their eyes. So they're able to detect fine distinctions in the dark, which we cannot. They also have better motion visibility. So they're able to see things in motion much clearer than we can. During the day, I think that we're a little better. I remember doing my research a few years ago that they're a little bit nearsighted. So we can see a little bit better during the day. And their hearing is something like 1,000 times greater than a human being's. So they can hear things at a very, very, very subtle level that we cannot. So I'm thinking that spirits may be having kind of a minuscule impact on our environment, and they may be picking it up because their senses are more acute in certain ways. Well, Freya herself, she's only 6 months old, so she's freshly from the spirit world. So she will not have anything coming around. In fact, a couple months ago, when she was 4 months old, she was sleeping in the bed with me. In the middle of the night, I heard her bark, and I looked, and she was looking towards the bedroom door. And then she looked, and she was tracking it. And then she started looking at the ceiling, almost as if something went from the beginning of like the outside the door upward onto the ceiling. And she just looked at it and stared and did her little growl, her little puppy growl, saying, "No, you cannot go further. I will protect my owner." So, that happened. Also, speaking of night, just before night passed, he was asked to bring a new companion. And then, Freya came along a month later. What may led to this actually being true is that shortly after she came home, I saw her playing with something in the kitchen. And it was the typical, what you would normally see how dogs play. She'd get in her play posture, and then she would, bark, and then, but in a playful bark. Then she would run around, and then, she would, grab a toy and like her ball and, knock it over towards something invisible, and she would look, and there was nothing there, and she's having a good old time. So suspect that maybe Night and Freya were playing together during those early days, kind of the transition between Night's reign and now Freya's reign. So tell me, do you have any stories? Pets, especially dogs, I think, are attuned to the paranormal. Cats too. I've seen cats who are very, very spiritually aware and can detect very subtle sort of changes in the environment. Well, I'm going to put a link in the description for those people who are interested in the Etsy store and the attunements. If you want further content, you can check out my Patreon, where I put usually the second parts of videos and other things, private messaging and other bonuses. So I'll put a link to that in the description also. So I hope that you are all having a good weekend, and I will see you in a future video. Take care.